welcome to King Kong Pong. It actually doesn't matter who I am. This is Master Ron.
Sifu Shotgun.
Sifu Gus. This is the LASOB. Today we're going to be talking about
Broadsword.
I like swords.
Or duck feather sword, saber, whatever.
I really like it. And one of the things we're going to talk about how to use, because I can show you how to make little sushi rolls out of the SOB. But we're going to talk about something a little bit deeper. The benefits of training with the sword.
Correct.
And we're going to talk about weapon, non-weapon. Right? I like the concept of weapon, non-weapon because it truly benefits you. And we have to address the concept of the floppy swords.
Oh.
Stop them.
The tinfoil.
If you're trying to do combat, you need to have something with a little, you have to find your weight.
Right.
Because the inertia of the motion of the sword gives you direction, right? And have you understand where you're going and structure and all that stuff.
Right. I mean, you got to understand that when swords have their weight, that's why it becomes very personal with guys. You know, it's like beautiful Excalibur, all those things. We have a relationship with swords. You know, it has a very romanticized history, and I love them. I love just getting like this. But swords is the essence of our art.
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
And in your experience, how much benefits do you think your students? Because I've been to other schools that doesn't teach martial art, doesn't teach weapons. They just teach everything else. How much do you think it benefits?
It's interesting you say that because I always tell my students this. I said, in years I've done privates with other people from other styles of Kung Fu. Everyone who's used weapons have a better connection with their body.
Right.
And there's some people who can jump high and run fast, but people who use weapons understand, like the 3-section staff. You know why we laugh? If you don't know why we laugh, you need to understand why, and Ron and I are just crazy this way. Like, I like the 3-section staff over the nunchaku, but the nunchaku is easier to learn.
Yeah.
3-section staff is painful. If you've ever used it, you know what I'm talking about. But the reality is your body understands how to go, whoa, let me get away. It starts to move really fast because if not, you're going to get whacked and it hurts every time, not just once, every time.
Right.
And so when you're using the broadsword, I had 2 students one time, and they got these light little ones. They were big guys, 250, 270. And so they were just moving their arms. I go, no, you can't do that. And so they went and got the combat steel ones, which is the ones we use a lot. We went and got the combat steel ones, and they're like, oh my God, this moves my body totally different.
Correct.
My body almost moves effortlessly. I just got to make sure my stances are correct.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of things out there in the movies and stuff. Remember, those are movies. And when people, like, a good example is the Guandao.
Yeah.
Right? You know, when they go, clang, clang, clang. No, those suckers, they're heavy, and they're supposed to be put on the mount. Here, they just lower it down and they rake through the people. There's no, they just put it down and they go rake, let it go, take out the knife and sword, and then start chopping.
Right.
Okay, you guys gotta bring it back to reality here. You know, there's no superheroes out there.
Right.
You know, there's just you guys.
Right.
You're the heroes.
And so when you're training, if you're doing a weapon, you have to translate it to your body.
Exactly.
So let's talk concept.
Go ahead.
You got me again.
I'll do it first.
You go first.
So, the broadsword, right? Very important. The broadsword is your single side blade, and it's used mainly for slashing. But remember, all knives, they have to have a point. This could be as dull as possible in the old days, but because you could still cut through things in a neck, even if it's dull. But this, you have to keep sharp enough so you could stab through the person. Now, of course, the blood grooves, you guys know what blood grooves are, right? So when you get stuck in there, so there's air that goes through so you can pull it back out. Isn't that gross? It's cool, huh? Anyways. So what we're going to do, let's go on this side again. It's called curling. So without Louise, this, right? This is an exercise we do all the time. Here, right? So what he's going to do is punch. I'm going to come up, rake that already here. Chop this head off. Chop the other head off. and then skewer. So that's actually a very big, it was one of the first sword sansao motions that I learned, right? Is that one is the first one is I lift up, bam, and I just do that. And then cut to that, to the neck, cut to the stomach, and then slice through and still follow through. So without Louise, I'm doing this here, here, like that. But you have to keep it controlled by doing this. It always goes back to here. It goes back down to your, you go here and you bring it back closer to your butt again or to your hip, and it stays close to your body, right? So it's one of those things that's awesome, but when you use it without, this is how you learn from that. So he punches, I can't do this, right? That's kind of dumb, because it's just an extension. So what I'm going to do is I just do this here, right? And instead of this going around, this is the chopping block, boom, right? Boom. All of that has translated from the sword. It's all the same motions, exactly the same motions. A great example is like Iaido, Aikido. Aikido, they took the weapon out completely and it became Aikido. So I would put the weapon back in.
I like that.
But okay.
That was good.
Those
I like
are
that.
fun things.
All right, so I'm gonna keep mine really, really simple. Really simple. So what we're gonna talk about is transference of weight, right? So this is very simple for most people, right? So if the SOV throws, I draw my sword and I cut this way, right? Very simple, right? So I would go 1, 2, 3, and there I am right there. Very simple technique. So draw 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? And I like that concept, right? And all you're doing is you're going, wham, you're hitting them that way, right? And what I like about it is when he throws his arm, the sword just moves his arm, allows his torso to come right into the strike here. Right. And I like that. If you watch any of our videos, a lot of things we talk about is making them run into the strike. Right. And that's why they have to get used to committing. So if you're gonna use this, really piss them off. So I go here, 1, 2, right? And then this is a setup, right? Twirl, set it ready, boom, boom, right? And so I like that concept. It's very simple, direct and to the point. And how would you apply that without it? You guys are probably already seeing it already, right? So he goes here, boom, there I am right there, right? Boom. And you can take here, I use a chop, right? Or maybe not even use a chop on the end. Here, let's come over here so they can see the end. So, boom, kick, right? Like I have a sword, wham, just drop from there. You'll have a harder time seeing that motion. So if I were to do it a little bit faster without doing it harder, right? I'm trying to do it more fluid versus harder. But the objective is I'm now in control of his body, right? So every time he moves, right, boom, there it is. Now he runs right into this. Then he runs into that. And then he runs into that, right? And the principles are the same because we use weapon, non-weapon. And that's important for you guys when you guys are practicing, you know? Because the reality is I'm just going to do it in pop. SOB to the torso, not hit him to the throat. But I have him go faster. Same rule. Same rule, right? And if I were to continue, blah, 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 right? And that's the idea of practicing with pressure, which we did in one of our videos that you guys should watch, because without the pressure, we don't know if it's going to work, right? So when you're using weapons will help you negotiate the distance. Correct. You know, so it's important.
I'm sure some people out there going, when will we, even if you have total ADD and you didn't listen to anything that we said previously, when will I ever use a sword out there in the street? So
no, some people turn it off already.
Exactly.
Turned it off
exactly.
already.
I mean, when will that ever? If you don't use the sword as such as a tool for training. I know we don't carry swords around anymore, but remember that's what it's for. It's a tool for training.
Right.
So-
It's like boxers have heavy bags and have
Correct.
speed bags.
Exactly.
This is just a tool to help you become more proficient at your movements.
Right, and if you don't have a sword or scared with a sword, the thing about the sword is that you know the dull edge. I mean the broadsword. You know the dull edge, the sharp edge, so you know where to put your hands and stuff like that. But if you change up with different types of medium style weapons, you'll find a lot of, like, if you have hook swords, this,
Right.
that, you'll find so many gems you could work on, and then you go, okay, get rid of that. How can I do it without it? Right? Now, you gotta first learn the easier part.
Yeah,
So.
absolutely. And you're 100% right on that. And because people are like, well, who's going to ever attack me with a sword? That's not the point. The point is teaching you how to move efficiently. That's the point, right? And when your partner comes at you, and then how not to harm your workout partner, right? Just because there's a difference between, like, what you see us do with the SOV, we're not harming him. We're putting him in pain.
He's still back, see?
But we have enough control
Right.
not to injure him, but to put him in enough pain to do our moves. And if you have that kind of control, guess what you can do if you really want to harm someone? You know,
Right,
do
right.
some massive damage.
Exactly. And yeah, with the broadsword, you have the Chinese. It's basically fried rice for every kung fu school.
Yeah,
You know, everybody has some sort of broadsword.
Why'd you have to mention food?
No. Now remember, the long sword, the Tai Chi sword or the long sword, has completely different mechanics.
Yeah.
But we're not going to do that next time. We'll do that next time.
All right,
Anyways.
moving on. Dun, dun, dun.
It's more tea for everybody.
I don't need to watch those. Somebody's getting interviewed. I'm just kind of doing this.
That wasn't recording. That wasn't recording.
That's all recording.
What are we gonna do?
Don't put any of that on there.
What? Hey, you've been saying I'm evil for the longest time.